All of this contributes to that long-term habit formation. And if that wasn't enough about the benefits for protein, another thing to understand that might even be more important is that protein protects muscle. You hear about people going on these fad diets. They look on the scale, oh my goodness, I've lost 10 pounds in a week. Well, the fact is that muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're losing the wrong kind of weight and you look on the scale, you actually are led to believe that you are doing very well. But in reality, what's burning all the calories in the body? The muscle burns most of the calories. The rest of the body's fairly lazy. So if you've lost muscle mass, you have effectively lowered the body's metabolism and actually would be setting yourself up for major failure, probably yo-yoing on your weight and eventually weighing more than you do now. So this is very important to understand these concepts. And from all of this, hopefully you'll agree, protein is so critical for not just short-term, but long-term success. The even keel on blood sugar, the lower insulin levels, that life-centered approach. In fact, often I hear of people, when they come back, some people have regained, and I ask them about the protein. And what happens is, inevitably, I hear that the protein has fallen by the wayside. So very, very important to develop this attitude that protein is not just for now, but for the whole rest of your life. Even if you didn't want or need to lose weight, the protein-based way of eating produces that sense of well-being, stable energy levels, a life-centered way of living. Very, very, very important. I do, in the clinic, the body fat percent is monitored from time to time. People with anorexia that have lost a lot of muscle mass actually have high body fat percents. So as a person loses weight, we certainly in the clinic here want to see that the body fat percent drops appropriately. If the body fat percent is not dropping, or unfortunately it could be going up, if you're not watching your protein grams, this again is setting yourself up for failure. So you want to kind of get on board, re-review the guidelines, pre-plan your protein, get yourself right back into it. Cheat a little bit on the extra carbs, if you will. But if you keep that protein on board, those little extra carb violations from time to time are not going to have the same impact, the same compulsion that they would normally have if you didn't have that protein on board. The next handout is called General Summary. This is a very important handout. It's something that you can put on your refrigerator. Important to review, re-review, and review it again. We do learn by repetition. You look at the recommendations, 1,200 calories. And remember, if I just said 1,200 calories and you only paid attention to calories, you're probably not going to have your protein on board, probably losing the wrong kind of weight, and you know where that will take you. So, if you take those 1,200 calories and 30% devoted for protein, 40% of the calories for carbohydrates, 30% of these 1,200 calories for fat, you can do some simple math and convert over. So for the whole day, for protein, 80 to 100 grams, for carbohydrates, 120 grams per day, and for fat, 40 grams per day. And most people are going to lose at least a pound a week. Because of the very importance of the protein, at the very top of your handout, I've listed the best 25-gram protein portions. And the reason that I consider these the best is that as you look and understand and look at labels, you'll see, oh goodness, there's some good protein there. But then if you look again some further, you'll see, oh, there's a lot of carbohydrates or a lot of fat. So these protein foods are very solidly protein, do not have that many grams of added carbohydrates or added fat. The very first thing that's listed is protein powders. And protein powders are mainstream. Protein powders can be purchased Target, Walmart, Costco, Trader Joe's. I prefer to purchase a vanilla and a W-H-E-Y, vanilla whey protein powders. Vanilla flavoring gives you a lot more freedom to do a lot more things with it. Maybe consider drinking your breakfast. Look at the labels on your protein powders. Make sure that you know if it's 1 or 2 scoops. But maybe dump a scoop of protein powder in with your coffee. You don't even have to have a blender. They mix quite well. You can also get quite creative. You can search on the internet for protein powder smoothie recipes. But anyway, this is a very convenient, very economical way to get your protein started. And the first 2 hours of your day is when your first protein portion should be on board. That is the biggest challenge for people, so really get focused on protein 25-gram breakfast. If you have one of these protein foods, another of which, by the way, is a deck of cards sized piece of lean meat. That means 3 ounces. That's 25 grams of protein. 1 cup of cottage cheese. And by the way, my ice cream alternative is using my cottage cheese. I buy these frozen berries at Costco, and I put about a half a cup or so in the microwave, get them hot, sprinkle some Splenda, maybe some cinnamon, and scoop on the low-fat cottage cheese, swirl it together, and there you have a very good alternative to ice cream, and very low-carb, protein-based. 6 egg whites is 25 grams of protein, or 3 eggs. Try to avoid the egg yolk as much as possible. The egg yolk has all of the bad, the cholesterol. It does have half the protein. So 3 eggs or 6 egg whites, that's another 25-gram option. Now the starches, again, are the bad carbohydrates. Cheat a bit if you will, but if you keep that protein on board, you'll find that you're doing quite well. A nice gradual 1 pound a week at least weight loss is what is encouraged. Remember, if you're doing something so ridiculous and rigid, it is far less likely that you're going to be able to stick with it, and even much more unlikely that you're going to embrace it as a permanent part of your lifestyle. So gradual, get the mindset that what you're doing is for life, not just for now. Eliminate that word diet. Fruit has a lot of natural sugar, so maybe 1 piece of fruit a day while you're losing the weight. Also, nuts are very healthy. They do have a lot of healthy fat, but a 1/4 cup of nuts should be okay. I listed a bunch of supplements. These are also, all of them, very beneficial. Potassium is only something that you would add to your supplements if you're planning to get your carbohydrates in the very, very low range, the 20 to 50 grams per day range. The last one is a non-habit forming sleep aid. And I do bring this up because it is well known and has been scientifically confirmed that people that don't sleep well weigh more. And we do live in a stressed out, sleep deprived society. So these are 3 non-habit forming sleep aids. Take all 3 together a half an hour before you go to sleep. They will also aid with your strategy for taking the appetite suppressants. They will allow you to be able to take an afternoon dose a bit later and still be able to sleep. And why the afternoon dose? Because most people will tell me that the afternoon and early evening is their biggest challenge for food choices.